정말로 참리 쉬어다는 거죠. 꿀로 검지 자고 스타 꿀로 된 거죠. 단단하죠. 네, 줘야 돼. 네 라니 지구도 많이 봐. 라니 이게 저래다 심지 탐제라 편부 바시도 해야 네. 저게 지슈다 심나 심지신의 편부도 써야 돼. 신변이 심 군의 라니다 비신의 편도 제대로. 네 제도. 근데 대용해야 제도. 네 진짜된 인기 선배군에. 꿀론 chanju simji ni simbaji da sango 꿀론 제쇼 스라.
Greetings to everyone, and let us start as usual with setting up a motivation for these teachings. We should think that we're listening to these teachings not only for one's own benefit, but mainly for the benefit of all sentient beings, for the benefit of others, and think that I listen to these teachings with this Bodhisattva motivation.
Oya da nzo kawa komro nzo ni da logic ze na le kese la ne so dung chu ndeji za chi mo ndeji nzo tu sam kom sum je tu ti amje la tu gi chong da ne tanda sam la dan gi chong oda di mezi di kewa sam mo yin sa ran ndeji ko gap ndeji chong de ne ya bo yin kewa sam mo yin sam gawa kom resra.
And now it's time to rejoice that in about 1 year, for about 1 year, you have been listening to these teachings on 37 practices of Bodhisattva, which is a real precious text, and that you had this fortunate opportunity to listen to the teaching, to reflect on the meaning, and to meditate on the meaning. So feel how lucky you are with this opportunity.
Oya da tirin tinda tama son sa ne di da gese la ni su du ge peje di ngondo che la ju de ngondo ge che ngondo da chu nyam ni chi de sam khar tang go yeme ne ngui shi la da ju sum ji lam ji rim ba che en de ne ju lo ngo was che da jo wa da ngui shi ju chi je de ji sum na la du chen su yo res ro.
So today's last class, and we covered the different parts of this text. We had like a preliminary part where there was an explanation on how to think, what kind of attitude one should develop before studying the actual text. And then we had actual text. And today we're going to talk about dedication of merit.
다 디 ngondo sia de la dang 방mon도 메뉴 내 알아서 류딘하고 쉽지 토요래 밀류딘 자치모 쉽지 토요래 디 텐다요지 최고로 스타디 삼로 양생 스탠드네 요거랑 아즈미 만한 상물로 밀류딘 렌데 요래 당에디 트린 텐다요지 당어서 밀류딘 디시라데 모케면도 하고 산이 가서 uk다 유명 신경 말와 단단하란서 uk다 요치 삼다 유디네 밀류딘디 텐다 덴바지 최고도 스러와 네 치워라 아니 제조 가르친 것도 올라돼요 지 된다는 뭐 시야라 유익이 전에 유용해 봐 유용한 거 뻥이야 내가 지 차단계야다 삼바마지 와서 니 유도서 내도 뻥이야 내 뻥네 내 상고야 거든요 때야 근데다 중나 남다 지나 절려당 오래 다 되면은 단단하서 신변기에 꾸내나 지 지도를 편바당 수 방법이를 편바치도야 아니 대전에 총이 뭐 봐야 총이 더 도봉이 받아서 아주 도봉이 배게 최를 바지 지금 강에 속고 여러 도봉이 뭐 봐네 가져네 아니 도보 약보든지 때문에 해서 어디 문도게 쉬도 도다로 어디 또 들어가시던데 와
So briefly, I'll remind you about the preliminaries, what kind of attitude and what kind of situation one should put oneself in order to be able to fully comprehend and practice the text, what is written in the text. So first of all, we should remember how precious this human rebirth is that we have attained and how important it is to make it meaningful. It's actually very good to think about this again and again, because we can see that our human rebirth, our human body, human life is very unstable. Today we're breathing and there is no guarantee that we'll breathe tomorrow. So we really need to strive for making this human life precious, meaningful. Then another quality that we need to obtain, or we need to rather to create for ourselves, is through abandoning evil places, the places where mind becomes agitated and unstable and loses its peace. We should stay in a good place, the place that is conducive for our practice. We should also let go of our self-interest and rather think of how we can benefit others better. And also, abandoning bad company is one of the main points, because through the bad company, all the afflictions come. So we should rely on good company and on spiritual friends.
무시들라 주 중우 주딩 주 첨부 다 다르게 가서 냠내치다 그런 거 상담한다 더 뒤지 시기 있어봐다 지난다 그 정도만 하고 시에서 말해 다 다르 저 상담단데 질라네 주 중우 주딩 주 숨지 최 냠내치다 그런 거 그냥 상담한데 다 요래 어디지 시에는 저런저 뒤에 상담단에 하고 요래서
And as for the actual text, actual practice, it is connected to the practice of the three types of beings: the beings with lesser capacity, middling capacity, and greater capacity. So I'll remind you briefly about the practices of these three beings. And it's also very good if you could think about it again and again from time to time.
하당고 저 chanjuge 셈 그래서 뭐 멤버 chanju 셈 게라 수술라다 체디기 알아서 체디기 디지 내가 그 디지 다도 그 디지 상마 조심제 심제 신라 되네 위원자 안 심제 빼면서 가진 첨보래 내가 건조 동해 냥대버 동해 세야당 대외 풍보대 대버도 같이 이 지기 삼에다 삼모든 되지 다 먼저 깨져 먹고 쉬어야 되는데 다 뒤에 소연나라 삼모디 양생 스탄트네 와요레스로
First of all, we have generated this aspiring bodhicitta through understanding that all the happiness we have in this life, all the temporary happiness and ultimate happiness, we can only have due to the kindness of sentient beings, and it's dependent on other sentient beings. So feeling how kind they are, we feel like freeing all sentient beings from all the suffering they have.
심지 신지 동해세 누발라 요만 만들어 수수 동해세 두고요 말이야 미신이 동해세 유션 은 심지 신라 디지 룹투고요 말이야 룹투야 말이야 단단 거랑 수수 디지 룹투고요 말이야 다디 심지 신 동해세 누발술도 심지 신라 디지 룹야 누발술도 상당히 다디 삼로디 양생 스타나 야고다로 말아서 디지 지 내주도 지 단다로 지 쇼지 다 배샤당 수수 담당 수수 완자당 아니 수수 지 가원이보당 강바당 잘라당 근데 개심부지게요라 이제 저기 생기 디지타도 디테 도면다라 생기 동에 타도 데세 도면다라 저한테 수세도도라 되네 다 산제다 아니 산제나 랑기 동에 세도도 랑기 디지 두도도 랑 동에 세와다 랑 디지 요나 아니 미신으로 와체 적으로 알아 수수 동에 메나 미신 동에를 태 탑지 적으로 수수를 디지 요나 미신을 디지 데지 두단데 파시에 적으로 하고 그래서 니인데네 다 산제 냐직 레샤다 랑 단다 두고 있나다 신 단다 두고 있나 가리나다 사마제나 네 탑시민도 세상에 다두거다 다 산제스나다 다두거 디지토바당 동해 탐제 매대에 내갑디 기버 탐제 세대에 내갑들라 산제시기요래 어디 다 고만디 토바치고 도스로 심진 신기 동해세야당 디지토베 체딩에 산제 공바 토바치고 도스라나 기우침부 냠len 차송아 기우침부 냠len 세로 다들라
So we cannot clear away the suffering of others. We just don't have this ability at this point. On top of that, we cannot really bring.
No. I was it. This I was it.
All okay.
Yeah. Okay. Little bit dog barking, and then dog operation, and then we have some problem. Sorry there.
Should I start from the beginning?
Yeah.
Okay. So if we look at ourselves, we can see that in reality, we don't really have an ability to clear away the suffering of others at this point of our lives. And we cannot really bring happiness to others. So who can? It's clear that it's only such beings who have no suffering and have like fully developed ability and ultimate happiness, they can help others. So such a being is a Buddha. It's actually really good if we can think again and again about the situation we're in, because we consider very important whatever we have money, we have our houses, we have our possessions, like whatever mundane things we have in our lives we consider very important, but instead we should develop the feeling of importance of the practice itself and our developing this ability to help others. Because if we haven't achieved this the state of Buddha, if we haven't cleared away our own suffering, there's no way for us to help others. Like we cannot even help ourselves to that extent. So we cannot help others as well. So if we haven't achieved Buddhahood, we are of no benefit for others. Therefore, it's very clear that we need to strive for attaining Buddhahood. for the sake of ourselves and for the sake of all sentient beings. And that would be the practice of greater capacity beings, the motivation of greater capacity beings.
다 디제인도 다 산제 고마타발라 네 코방고로 알아. 세상에 산제 고마타베 지도 네 코방고도 디치도 아니 라바숨당 디신 냠nen소 제운도 아니 교딩 냠nen 차로고라 타바통고도 오스라.
In order to achieve Buddhahood, one should abandon samsara, and to abandon samsara, one should train in the 3 higher trainings, and that is the practice of the middling capacity beings.
다드네 타바토베야디 밀루 된라 미셔지기다 타바토토고야 말에 가서는 먼저 밀라 동해여와 당 아니 동해래 텐데글로디 요에 인상 이중계 토고여라 저 다신도와 제월레나 타바 사드 토토고야 말에 가서는 이중계 동해여 말와 말아서 동해여디 가고 그래 동해여서 안 동해래 타베 타오토베 로지기도 이중계기도 배야 그러셨어 동해대 동해라 놀라가고 공부세 로정 예 단다 카라 공주인데 손다로 네 단다 동의 충분지 아마 스스 겨왕아마 랭이 바사비 데비드 타도고 그랬어 랭이 베 데비드 제데 파세스나나 당저 겨와들 레 상에 데비드 미야레스로 세상 디자네 단대 동의들 녀애들 가고 검스로 방서 이나다 동의 나라 동의도 나 빼사서 나 빼줘버리셔 시그라 달로종 게 단다 제셀라는 소리 나는 뭐 거의 인자네 다 동의들이 내용도 나다 빼야 그랬어 그러나 바나 동의를 타베 타와 삼는 땅도 그래 나랑 겨왕에 랭이메 데비세도 그래 랭이메 데비세스나 당알레 야가 데비게 미용 그래 다 빼야 그랬어 어제 체스다 동의되니 믿어줄래 되는 거저 동의되니 믿어줄래 자리 잡 콘도사 맞이고 지그러 다 제셀라는 수든 따사스나네 동의에서 타도서 맞이고서 얘들들라네 토지체스 셈되네다 빼야고지 견한다가 배 동의 못되니 그게 약수디 삼제 가오 공부해서 막 뒤유 막아오 집에서는 가오 셈게 도치나 당어서 제셀라는 소득이 냠nening부터 저랬다로
So we need to achieve liberation through the 3 higher trainings, and in order to achieve liberation, we need to generate a strong attitude of renunciation. We tend to complain a lot when there is even smallest suffering or smallest pain comes into our lives, but as Kara Gomjung said, we should really rejoice in any suffering that we face or any negative karma that's ripening, because we have accumulated a lot of negative karma from before, and by experiencing the result of this negative karma, it becomes our purification. So through this purification, we can attain complete freedom, complete liberation, and that will take us on the path towards enlightenment. So instead of complaining about the pain and problems that we have in our lives, we should say thank you to everything and everyone who brings this discomfort to us, because it becomes our cause for liberation. And this is basically the essence of our practice.
계산다 타바토베라 밀류된데 약쇼인자는 나다 밀류된 토야죠라 아니 미기지고 수림 소야다 아니 짐바다야다 멜람자야다 무슨 체비나 다 밀류된 토야게 취데 짐바다 멜람자야디 타바토베야디 가르치들라나 심지 탐제에 취데 산지 고마토야 취데 세상 삼로당연디 교우충을 교우딩 교우침벌 냠내 차상은 삼로당서 지금은 삼로고를 잡두고다라
For the sake of attaining liberation, this human body serves best, and for us to to have obtained this human body, we had to practice generosity and pray and like dedicate a lot of merit for that. So we should pray that this body, the practice that we do with this body is aimed for liberation only, for liberation and for enlightenment. And so in brief, this was the description of the practices of the three types of beings, of lesser capacity, of middling capacity, and of greater capacity. And if we can think of these practices, that would bring a lot of benefit to us.
어디 디자인직체 다 디자인이어디 오늘 장주게 셈 게제 심매제네 냠리 가르치 거라서는 지조 파진 두고 냠리 아 지조 파진 두고 냠리디야 냠리 치기 가나 지조 파진 두가 차이가 된대다 지야요다 그래서 그래서 다 진짜 망원 얘기도 하고 같이 싸워 같이 돈 하고 매정이디 양야직 라비너로.
And so this was kind of first part of it, and now the second part comes to the point where we have generated bodhicitta. Now the question is, how do we practice? The practice is about the practice of 6 paramitas, or 6 perfections. And some of you might have already heard about that a lot of times, and some of you might be new. So anyway, repetition is a good way of learning. So we'll do a brief repetition of that.
다 단단한서 짐바 짐베 짐바서로 짐베 짐바데 가서는 알아서 단다 최도스 아직 퇴바당 계제셔가지고 다도서 아니 지우코와다 미코와다 저런서 최 년바디 아니 수술의 편도 말의 편도 당한서 상호 파주 편도되어라 근데 편도 인상 근데 최기 짐바서다 니 최기 짐바로 최기 짐바디 짐바체로 최기 짐바체 아니 근데 짐바당한테 개회 싸워지어라 대양파 심지 탐지 주도 뭐 제비나 아니 짐베짐바 차송아 마 밀어 최셔바디 짐바체로 최기 짐바체 아 최기 짐바체월데 개와사신 저디 개와디양 심지 탐파 다음이나 뭐바이나 르 다음이나 아니 짐베짐바 차송아 짐베짐바로.
So every paramita, or every perfection, contains all 6 in it. So we can speak of, for example, generosity or generosity. Now that we're here, we have been listening to those Dharma teachings. We listen to them, we speak about them, we hear the words. In that way, you and myself, we benefited each other. So such an interaction is the generosity of Dharma. And if we dedicate the root of virtue, or whatever accumulated virtue that we've gathered through this activity, to perfect enlightenment, to ultimate happiness of all sentient beings, it becomes the generosity of generosity.
다 짐베 수림디 안지마다완디 랑진지기 팀마 마고 소야 되려와 근데 가도라 아니 뒤준 삼는 단계 유나 아니 예 지마다완디 아니 랑니지고 많이 받심제 탐제를 편바치 야네 삼다나 랑진지기 심디 송토나 아니 짐베 수림 차라.
Then moral conduct of generosity, or morality of generosity, comes when we do those actions with a mind that is unstained by self-cherishing, without the self-cherishing attitude, but rather thinking of benefiting all sentient beings. So this becomes the morality of generosity.
다 디가도라 니 직디 추제기 팀에 마고 삼다도나 니 배하고 요레스라.
And also, if you can think of the state of mind that's been unstained by the 8 worldly dharmas, that would be the best.
Oh yeah, that is it. 네. 매출임. 다 집에 세웠으니. 당도 최세바다 최세바다. 니네가라 동해도 갈래도 알아. 너 동해들어서 통리 지도이나 아니 집에 세워차로. 최집에 최집바다에 최지도리 거리나다. 레로미도 알아. 데라야 당들래니. 디 강에디 수수세 마토바치. 아니 양자배 뮤튜제 최지도이나 아니 집에 tanda sima rupa chi detuwe na, ane jimbe suwa, chawarwa.
So what is patience of generosity? It is it's connected to the difficulties that we face when we listen to the teachings or when the teacher is teaching. So it is not easy. It really has it requires a bit of a patience. So when we are able to bear this difficulty and to take it voluntarily and keep our mind clear without confusion, that becomes the patience of generosity. I do not hear you, Kima.
다음에 최지we
Okay.
내가 니 jimbe 준비 써야 돼. 아니 겨울로 또와 가와 공. 앞에 요이 그거 연구이 하나 겨울들라 된대게 저 짐바단지 총아 최지 총아 그거 야구이 텐도나 아니 가와지로 와 가와지나 겨울 종강 겨울 또와 아니 수술라디 최디 양자치하게 두발레 다디 삼다한테 개천벌 그러면서 로지 다 겨워들라 내지 주기 특기 총하다 최삼단지 총하다 원에 겨워 상위 참삼단 아니 겨워라 쪼발리그라 아니 집에 준주샤로
So then, joyous effort or perseverance of generosity. It's the joyous effort. The definition of joyous effort is delight in virtue. So when we realize that what we're doing is a virtuous action, and we rejoice in having received this virtuous and perfect opportunity, then we feel that we're really lucky and fortunate. Liking what we do, and if we can think about it again and again, this will also bring a lot of happiness and joy in our hearts and will benefit us a lot. So this is the practice that is called joy's effort of generosity.
다디니 주다 삼니 짐바당위나리 최 짐바당이나 최 세그이나리 디간라 셈네 돈네바 셈마잉 바치지 심데 겨와드 치토위나 겨와드 톱치모 차그와 제자니 집에 삼디 세야디 짐바 최 짐바당에 내가라 대간라 삼로당지 삼 심데 대간라 내 템베 송제가 데토위나 아니 집에 삼디 차
And then concentration of generosity. Now we're speaking about the generosity of Dharma mainly in this example. So it's staying concentrated and focused on the teachings without a distracted mind, with awareness and mindfulness about the subject. So this is concentration of generosity.
다니 셰럽 상당데 니 짐바당세 유 짐바당고 보라니 짐뱅고 저스 상마 템바마도 된도 유마데 이 상담이나 니 짐베 셰럽 차라
유랑이다. 네, 좋아.
짐바당세 유 짐베제 짐바당고 보라니
제. And wisdom of generosity is when you realize that all the three spheres, the sphere of an object of generosity, the sphere of the performer of generosity and the sphere of the like material of generosity, the, how do you say it, like the actual materiality, the actual thing that one is giving, all three are empty of inherent existence. So this becomes the practice of wisdom of generosity.
我的顶这是，你用个做的，卡里那里，在北上马尼城个那里，去的这个卡拉这个那里，查的这个卡拉这个那里，근데 짐바리 데로 하고 근데 별로 편바 주야 다 딜랑진지 좀 보던데 손단 토이나 아니 겨울랍 침부사도 그러
Whatever action we do, whether we recite money mantra, or whether we give food to dogs or birds, or any virtuous action, if we can think of it as of lacking inherent existence, this action becomes wholesome.
어야 다들 내가 저다 겨워 쳐야 되라 타마들 겨워 쳐야 돼 남무시 되지 근데 겨워 사신 요디 학벌도 다 단단한 저 말한 저기 니 진짜 망보 아까래 잡으러 저런 저 내가 깔래 하고 요르들이 진짜로 용이 되셔도 내가 요 말아 네가라 지도 인데기 깔래 유기래 다지 되버 되선 검슨 채워디 손은 납 전부 배전 채워디 손은 쌓여로 지단 손은 사회 개와디게디 네 야 뭐와치야 지도 당서 디셰긴다로 쇼당 숨주 섭디운들도 대다 준비되게 개와남스 대다 준비되게 개와나 타예되게 동네 지지지 세제치 고소나바드베 시럽지 전종과 제설한 대달 준비해서 당하는데 이거는 제설안에서 둔기 지제 퇴선 공사 채와되기 개와되남 타예베 도와심지 탐제는 동의 서비스도 아니 고소나바드베 시럽스네 개와고세 유 개와라니 개왕오 버라니 개왕오세 유다 제대로 탐제 산지 고마토버죠 산지 더블어치나 산지 미유디 탑자디 지도 거라 강화하게 개와디 당간저 개와사신 요디체 는 오버라니체 어두즈 상마니 데마마 들어선 고수 넘버 타고 왔어 데마 트베 팀마메와 인자 데미그도 시럽이시나 고수 넘버 타고 인데기 시럽이 자주 와스 자주스는 산지 고마토베 지도 와데 아니 제세 신주스 벨람레 냠네 레스지다 졸라가 숨주서 비도 스토리라.
So now we're going to talk about dedication of merit. Through coming to these classes and listening, like you've actually made a lot of work, you made a lot of effort, you had to drive all the way here, you had to come to listen to the teachings with attention, and all these actions were virtues. So now we can dedicate this virtue to the highest goal possible. And if we open the text, it's the shloka number 37 that talks about dedication. So it says the practice of all the bodhisattvas is to dedicate towards enlightenment, all the virtue to be gained through making effort in these ways, with wisdom that is purified entirely of the three conceptual spheres, so as to dispel the suffering of the infinity of beings. So we should keep in mind, as we've spoken about those three conceptual spheres, is the sphere of, if we talk about dedication, so we have the person who dedicates, we have the virtue as the material that we dedicate for the sake of complete enlightenment, and we have all sentient beings who are the subjects for who we dedicate this merit. So all three these conceptual spheres are empty of intrinsic nature of their like true nature. And this understanding brings about the wisdom with which we do this dedication. So we should keep in mind this, and also the goal of our dedication. We dedicate all that virtue accumulated from our virtuous activity for the sake of complete enlightenment, not only ourselves but all sentient beings.
Oh yeah, that the ne juk ji turn to wa juk turn to wa de la. Ani to yu den ju nam le sung be turn do sa do ju den ju do sa de. Ani san ji chok tu sung be sung de la do se re. Chok tu wa chok tu san da ja do ma sha ji tu ba. Che yu sa de gyao do ji chang sung shan ju de la yu nga ta. Ta do sa de pa jin te we gi sung di la do tu ko na de re. 파진 대박에 슝 두절 제동보단 셔런ing보다 두절도 두절란 도스기래 근데 유세야 되는 사운드에 자주도 나게 슝 되니들 주 갑디 땡주세야 되니 대다 도단 땡주 도단 주되다 공화만 되니 공부를 주게 지금 공부를 주다 바고 담에다 제신 조게 니 슝들라 땡주 하고 되다 그러는 여러분이 이제 요새서 땡주 가져오라 도주 땡주 남래 숨베튼 도단 주단 땡주 대단한 내 숨베튼 담반한지 숨신 제탕내서 네 담반남지에서 기부 담반들 숨기 제스탄 수수랑 좀 친구들 메스 담배가 숨샤원한 신기 제스탄 콩도사데 도단 주단 땡주 되더라 또 예숨베튼 되게데 담배 숨마탕 예세는 이나 숨지는다 예세 뭐 예세 네 예세 람라 롬데 텐데 거스 예세 남지 라렌스 예세 예베세 겨워스데 산지를 겨워지 디세스데 장주 셈게는 예베세 자 말한서 아니 로춘줄 가보라 아니 장주 셈게는 예베세 자다 예베 부자로 세 이제 라렌다레데 가르잖아 아니 저자들 갑들 계세라는 저자 세제 숨주섭도 유스 어디게디 네 술라브레스나 계세지 람라 와 계세 천주심베 람 지소 파진 토당 안티고는 기우숨이 람지는 버셰신죠 다대가는 망고 송사 디게 로버 되니게 되니게 네 로마데다게 네 된드 마치제 지외 인스 받아마 뭐좀 동네사 버와 저거에 굉장히 뒤인성을다.
So then comes a few verses of conclusion. It says, "Here I have set down for those who wish to follow the Bodhisattva path 37 practices to be adopted by all the Buddhist highs, based on what is taught in the sutras, tantras, and treatises, and following the instructions of the great masters of the past." So sutra, just as a reminder, sutras are the words of Buddha himself, and it is also connected to Paramitayana teachings. While tantras are the words that are taught by Vajradhara, and these are connected to Mantrayana. Scriptures are commentaries by Indian and Tibetan masters, but Indian and Tibetan scholars such as Nagarjuna Asanga or Lama Tsongkhapa and others. So the source of all those 37 practices that Geshe Moshe Tome wrote are the teachings of sutras, tantras, and the scriptures, the commentaries. So these teachings he composed for the sake of all those who are wishing to follow the Bodhisattva path. And those teachings contain the whole path of 3 types of beings, of lower capacity, middling capacity, and greater capacity beings. So all those who want to become bodhisattvas, or the sons of Buddhas in Tibetan, is Gyaltse. Gyaltse means the sons of victors. So those who have generated bodhicitta and who will become Buddhas in the future. So all those practices are suitable for them.
Oh yeah, that dine CJ Tamati Nanda Jedila, Lodre Mishi, Jangwa Chuichi, Taking Yon, Trumedi Dimba. To do that, the Jesse Lonas and the Danger Zamba, the Trumis. Marala, Lodre member is the King Yong, King Yong Nanga, Kings and the Sing Mason, Lodre Chuju Shida is, Lojona Jangwa Shida Chiyo Mess. Law member is doing a me machine, Jogotin de Yins water. Ni Kewa Jivet of Joe, the Machi Yanson. That CJ the bear, Cabot of the bear, Cavag, Tendegi, Tijo, Devjonimo, the Jan Mares. Yina Yang, Dodan, Tambesung, La Dembech, Jesela, Lentry me. Today Yina Yang, Dodan, Sanje Sungdang, Denjudan, Tambesungdang. Tozilla Dine, Jesela, Yamlin Chia, Lamdi, Tua Meva, Noa Meva, the day is on it.
So the next verse says, since my intellect is only feeble and I have studied but a little, this is not a composition likely to delight the connoisseurs. Yet, since I've relied upon the sutras and what the saints have taught, I feel these are indeed the genuine trainings of the Buddha's eyes. So this verse is quite special because here Geshe Kunchutome says in a very humble way that he was of like kind of lowish intellect and he didn't study much, but nevertheless he's convinced that since the source of those 37 practices is pure and unmistaken, therefore we can rely on the source and rely on those 37 practices that he has composed.
When Yang Jesse Chula, Love Chenam, Lomental, Ding de Togashi, when Yang Jesse Jijuba, Love Chen, Ani Jigzevatazo, Ampedi Lomembang, Andavaji, Dingbo Kawa, Hajan Shea, Kawaresra. And the day in the Ani Nada Madris, Niveso, Ani Gatans, the Tig. Da gewa tang, joja ma dewa tang, ane tende non ju yuwe, niwe tende yu na, tamba nanji soba zero chi, susu zero chi, swa non ju yungu res ina nga, ina rangi kandu doji da, do dang tenju, kewe sungla tene tsam yu de, kese ge, ne, jowa dozo da chazanji, ma tigu ju na, hajan jache mo sonza, kagu res, ara lo membo sonza, ane, shezan ina tila gewa tang, ane joja ma dewa tang, tende ge, 아니 이제 예와든데 교연된데 유나 아니 공수 공부는 나 담반한 기술봐 수바 제로지 있어.
The next verse says, still the tremendous waves of activity of the Bodhisattvas are difficult for simple-minded folk like me to comprehend. And I must therefore beg the indulgence of all the perfect saints for any contradictions, irrelevances, or other flaws this may contain. So here, as we see, Geshe Mutsutomi says that it is, for him, it's very difficult to comprehend and to present those precious practices of bodhisattvas. And he says that he doesn't have an intellect that would allow him to be like perfect in this work. And if there are any mistakes, he's asking to bear with him because he did his very best.
다 개와 타도 개와야 돼. 텔레주에 개외 도와는 텔레 중앙에서 다단다 계속무지 담는 사무 거라게 개와 사신ਜੋ 대주 잠에 개와 사신조 디제 대송거와 텔레주에 개외 초남군 전당 군조 전주 셈지 다 전당 셈지당 군조 전주의 셈지 초 아니 시다 다 시와 코알레토 같은 시와 타베 네 타고 미니베냥데 시데 Nindu Niran Rajume Gombala Mineve Chidu, Ni Mineve Generesi Gwenda Sumbasho, Pawa Generesi de, Ni Tandan Chanjus in the Kuza Chanjus Sim, Tatu with the Nieje, and Generesi Gomba Top de Rete, Tavela, and the Gawasashin Jodi, Takanda, Pawa Generesi, Simji Tamji, Pawa Generesi Nashinji, and the Yonto Show, Siji, Murmalan Yaresra.
Gila Niran ta
Yendu dang lang ye, shiwe tal
Nian
ne
ta
ra,
rangi
yendu da
re.
jamba da, ye da jamba di shiwa, ranyi jibu shidi tuyo nye si ne, kawa le tabe tawa de la, ranyi jibu kawa le tade ne de yorwa, di shidal mene si, shidal mene si, no di si.
Ini dit Angela kare yore. This goes
Di la
on.
mene wache, di la mene wache, pawa jenre
Ale
si
din
kwa
ya
na shi la,
ore.
shiwe tal mene pe si kwa, jenre si kwa na tuma shio, shezan kawa la mene wache, ranyi jibu kawa le tabe tawa tijigo la ne de wa mayi bache. 아니 심지 담제 파워제레스 나시 공부한테야 그것도 쇼스 뭐면 디체레스
Okay. So the last verse is dedication. It says, through whatever merit has here been gained, may all beings generate sublime bodhicitta, both relative and absolute. And through this come to equal Lord Avalokiteshvara, transcending the extremes of existence and quiescence. I hope I pronounced it properly. So this verse, the main point of this verse is that whatever merit has been gained, may this merit go towards the perfect enlightenment into the state of Avalokiteshvara, and not just not abide in the state of hearers or Pratika Buddhas who are looking only for self-liberation. So here, whatever merit has been created, may it I'll read it again. Through whatever merit has here been gained, may all beings generate sublime bodhicitta, both relative and absolute, and through this come to equal Lord Avalokiteshvara, transcending the extreme of existence and quiescence. So those extremes of existence and quiescence are in Tibetan, it's Thi and Shiva. So it's connected to Sip and Shiva is connected to the state of hearers and Pratika Buddhas who are only looking for self-liberation. So we need to transcend that wish and aim for the complete liberation, for the complete enlightenment.
제바디 스와 제바디 라신라 펜베 텐디 롱다 르바마와 좀바 통메지 무주 렌젠 푸데 자와스 다 제바디 아니 라다 신라 펜바 텐디 아니 롱다 르바마와 좀바 무주 통메상 뭐 무주 세데 사제 민로 안 타부 무주라부 무슨 별로 제요 네디 단다 타부도 제요레스로 짱래요 짱 롱바들 무주세요 아니 무추세야데 롱베밍로 렌지 푹세야데 렌진 세야데 베진데 렌지 푹세야데다 롱베 통조 무주 렌지 푹세야데다 타부 리들 렌지 세머로 푹세야데 타부로 와 타부 그다음 무주기 무주 리트스라 무주 리트스 인상 제예요 인상 제가 되는 거 먼저 별로 하지매 게미디 니 그래서 망고다나는 먼저 제가 더 쳐버려. 별로 내제만 모셔가도 기분스러워.
And the last line says, this was composed in Jewel Cave, in Tibetan Rinchen Puk, in Wulchu by the monk Togme, a teacher of scripture and reasoning for his own and others' benefit. Wulchu is the name of a place where he composed this text. It's the place in Tsang region in Tibet, and this place is open for visitors. And Jewel Cave, or Rinchen Puk in Tibetan, it's a cave it looks like it's in the mountain that's called Rinchen. Perhaps it's the name of the mountain. So this retreat place is also open for us to visit, and perhaps in the future we can do that if Chinese authorities allow.
제가 그 베저 잠대에 가둘라네. 베저 상마 티산으로 베저 상마 티산. 별을 하고 싶게 그러 하고 베저 상마 쿠중 사자 가스글. 아니 그네 양자 베저 니와 티다 톡라 여러 심라 여자. 양자 베저 니와 티. 그래서 되게 템데 딩네. 디 제셀라는 소들이 마음바다 잠불린 상말라. 디 롭종치야 미상말 토야 구매하기. 아주 원래지 최 캐말레 미지나 디틱디 겨기나 베스는 펜보여와 제가 잠블링 밀라야다 펜도야 때문에 근데 디브레스 거라 베제 상말 학부에 쿠즈 베 상말 가스굴 초시 참제 상말 쿠르시라 야 베제 니버직 티로 티레서 제가디 때문에다 단다 잠블링 나가라 미망고지 아버지 잠블링 사제 가스굴 아니 잠블링 근데 게릭 다음에 나가나 교류 여러 가지 근데 베제디 페미시 야고여 산산라 수수 셈바마 지오라 같은데 제대로 거들라네 되나라 수수 셈바다 대와이베 도와다 데 가두도와 여르티 간도와 지세나 람디 체오세로 와 세나 람지세로 담 메니에발라 동해 람지 또 동해나 강에 쇼여라 동해 람디 체세로 아니 산산라 그 작당 타도직으로 근데 작당 유도서 그냥 람디 체야 된대 근데 성우다 직제에서 빼미시기 코데오체 자산 결혼마다는 직제 직지제 로로 내되는 빼미시 편도신 말이야.
When Geshe Tome finished this work, there was an interesting thing that happened to him. In Tibet, there are strong winds sometimes. So when he finished writing those verses, a strong wind took all those the paper on which he was writing that and scattered it throughout the whole place. So Geshe Unshu told me took it as an auspicious sign that these verses will be of great benefit to all sentient beings. And it wasn't difficult for him to write it for the second time, so he did. And now that we're reading it, it's the second composition of those 37 practices. And it brings benefit not only to those who believe in, to non-believers, and to everyone who feels sad or are in bad mental state, because those verses, they teach directly how to take suffering on the path, how to take jealousy or anger on the path and work with it. It is quite easy to understand, and it's really good if we can recite it on a daily basis, but if not recite the whole text, at least one or two verses, that would bring tremendous benefit to us.
제가 제세 우주 통해서 근데 리트를 참나 쇼데도 구마레도 구마 알아 구마레제 구마 잘라 상마 치로 다가는 친 근데 카덴데 하데 덴데 카덴데 하데 있어 구마 데스 가진 잘라 하지 데치 단도 잘라지 하지 덴 하데 데치 주스 안데 바데 건조 롱바디네 롱바 돌마도 저는 데네만도 써 데네도나 저도 롱베미 잘라도 롱베미 갈라 표시하죠 건조 잘라 것이 저는 녀다당 잘라 프로그레스 뭔가 파죠 건조 것이 말해서 저는 근데 르다는 지바요 착신요 말 잘라라 착신 근데 제 매윈자 아니 그마도 항상다 건다다 라말베 산지 메게버치도 어저께 갈레테스 구마디지데 chul ku reso ki dukcha reso jida chanju ki sengi nyamlen sengi de nyuba tinde ba
There's a story how Geshe Torme Ngulchu Torme was staying in retreat, and once there was a thief who came in his retreat, a cave, and took precious things and put it on the horse and was about to leave. And Geshe Ngulchu Torme realized, he saw it and he realized that there is still one thing left in the cave. It was like a cushion. And he told this thief that there is one more thing, please take it. So you left it behind. And also he suggested that this thief doesn't go this particular direction. He said that people who made all those offerings, they would recognize those offerings and they would beat you up. So don't follow this path, but rather go this way. You'll be safe. And upon hearing that, Thief felt strong regret for doing what he did and generated great faith and became a disciple of Geshe Ngulchu Torme.
oh ya da ange yangja ngran zo maung bala ya chö di yangja thöya gi temden chi di godine ma tadi in tsikaje ma lo ani thanda des la shenara.
So for auspiciousness, for the future, so that we can listen to these teachings in the future again, I'll recite a few verses.
Yewe seji langle, yewe seji langle sumju zade ma shuksos, kange chugun dong mesi yang dowe tena tseji zunze wa, lama chodan jere sendu la tadu kusum kuwe cha tse los. Pende june zowe sanje na tamje dule chun di langle shi la rewe, jese na je langle shi wa chas. Ta di sungure, pende june zowe sanje pende, nega penpa da tadu dewe, sanje ji goma de, tamje dula, tambe chu. Taro nangba sanje dubdan kare ba de nangba sanje we chu nimi shegi yomora. Shena tamje yogi nyamlen chiya la. Rale res. Tadi tambe chu duwa la langlen chiya dire. Langlen chiya la langlen she gore rwa. Langlen she wala langlen teo gore. Chizan dinde inzaan tenju la teo sang gozum che gore es da. Jese ngunju tome sangwa dinde labja gyabdo warwa.
So Geshe-la was reading the first two verses and is explaining on the second one, that is that's called the promise to compose. The perfect Buddhas, who are the source of all benefit and joy, come into being through accomplishing the sacred Dharma. And since this in turn depends on knowing how to practice, I shall now describe the practices of all the Buddha's highs. So in Tibetan, there's a word, pende, which is translated in English, the source of all benefit and joy. It refers to temporary and ultimate temporary benefit and ultimate happiness possessed in their mind stream.
Yuze. Ta tije thama tsilapshina temde roshide yagoda tenjo tujinye ga topdu dirsi. Dashin kowe tsole tejeshi nindan tsindi yawa mewa yi yinsan kuma jesela nis. Ngaranzo tawa jedan jowa chu tambena zam gyazo parul jowe tuji ira nganzo tu yago shibji nganzo topde ira. Gyazo nan royala tu yago korwa. Tujin yago shibji nganzo topde ina ane gyazo parul rocho kora. Tenashi ngaranzo la ya mi ludi yago dindeji topde yadi. Rani da randan shin kowe tsole dungile trebe. Ni 트위터비아게 뉴바디 토비아게 루딘 야고시 된데 톱데야레스 그래서 니 톱데베 인자다 디 우니 테메드마다 것이 된다데 마치야라 닌단 세 야와메와 아니 냠바다 셈바 퇴바다 삼바다 공바치야데 아니 라렌치야다 또 어디레스다 달랍자 베스르부도 알아 베 미실랍자 세부시부도
Suje katsure?
한고디다 니 단다르와 당기 워데
Allez, oh.
텐조니가 당기 워다가
And again, for auspiciousness, Geshe-la read the verse number 1 of the actual 37 practices. That's about precious human life. The practice of all the bodhisattvas is to study, reflect, and meditate tirelessly both day and night without ever straying into idleness in order to free oneself and others from this ocean of samsara, having gained the supreme vessel, a free, well-favored human life, so difficult to find. So we should keep in mind this example of how this precious human life is like a boat that allows us to cross the great ocean of samsara without drowning in it, and how this body is a great like is of great benefit for oneself and others, and that we should make use of this body and of this human life to make it meaningful.
Oh yeah, 다 럽진데 투브리 아니 어나서다 그런서 베미시 깔레 야베르 당기셔나시 아니 어나서 아니 칼레지 접신주지 계획자와디지 네 melom 야고스텝 심지 탐지해 줄 찬주 심지에 당 안수수이나 저 새로는 새롭디 계세 전주선 방문주 동면상 뭐 중딜 테네 제대로 심지 탐지해 산제지 고마 도와주지 섬에는 melom 곰이 야고시 잡셔 곰데스 잡셔스러
So we have finished with this topic, and now it's the time to dedicate the virtue and to pray. You have made a lot of effort to come to listen to these teachings, to reflect on them. So may these teachings bring benefit to all sentient beings. May all sentient beings again and again meet these precious teachings, practice it, and attain perfect enlightenment.
다드네 양자 가오고므라 그러면서 미 겨워디는다 기세라는 소든 차장직 퇴섬지 중화된 거네 그거 야고 이삼 가오고므라 가와 양생에서 공부 가오고므나 네 심나라 가와 데 가와단 대와단 선로 뽑아용으로 그러면서 이제 지들인 거랑 최근에 되게 중화당 기세라는 소든 차장직 되게 중화 근데 제매 베제데 파치는 상상을 되도록 말로 하네 뭐 Amazing 강의로 들으러 강의 메디로 강의 이들로 지기는 배미시하고 여러 가고 공부를 했어.
Now rejoice again. Actually, it's very important to rejoice and to generate this joy from virtuous activities that you do again and again, because it's really a very lucky and fortunate opportunity to have received those teachings and 37 practices. So through rejoicing, through acknowledging how lucky you are, through rejoicing in your virtues, the joy comes in confidence and a good pride. And I strongly recommend you to recite those verses from time to time when you have time, when you struggle with some problems, or even when you don't have any problems, still recite those verses, and it will be of great benefit to you and others.
Oh yeah, 당연히 샤워.
We'll stop here now.
Especially thank you everyone. We're also working hard, especially Anna today. Anala. And you have lots of different times and you lots moving, traveling, today lots good effort. I think we appreciate and the moon have working hard and they can having and Britas having, Navas having and everyone having there. I really appreciate it. Thank you so much. Okay, do you have question? No question. Oh, no question. We stop here. Okay.
Page 31 for the mandala.
Do you have?
Draw me so draw Eram Guru Ratna Mandala Pamnayataya. Page 33, due to the merit of these virtuous actions, may I quickly attain the state of a Guru Buddha and lead all living beings without exception into that enlightened state. May Supreme Jewel Bodhicitta that has not arisen arise and grow, and may that which has arisen not diminish but increase more and more. Whatever slight positive potential I may have created, I pay homage, offering and acknowledging my faults, rejoicing and requesting that the Buddhas stay and teach. I now dedicate all these to full awakening. I dedicate all these roots of virtue with the dedication praised as the best by the victorious ones thus called on the 3 times, that I might perform the noble Bodhisattva's deeds. May the King of Dharma, Tsongkhapa's way of Dharma practice and flourish. May the omens of obstacles be pacified and all conducive circumstances be complete. The wish granting, wish fulfilling jewel, source of every single benefit and happiness in this world, to the incomparably kind Tenzin Gyatso I beseech. May all your holy wishes be spontaneously fulfilled. Savior of the snowland teachings and transmigratory beings, who makes extremely clear the path that is the unification of emptiness and compassion. To the lotus holder Tenzin Gyatso I beseech. May all your holy wishes be spontaneously fulfilled. You who uphold the subduer's moral way, who serve as the bountiful bearer of all, sustaining, preserving, and spreading Munjana's victorious doctrine, who masterfully accomplish magnificent prayers honoring the 3 jewels. Savior of myself and others, your disciples, please swiftly return. By relying on the 2 accumulations of myself and others in the 3 times, may the teachings of the conqueror Losang Dragpa blaze for a long time. And the swift return prayer. Peerless teacher and assembly of the children, the victorious ones, Shravakas and Pratika Buddhas, victorious Losang father and sons, along with the lineage masters, all the objects of refuge of infinite lands, please bestow the virtue and goodness, accomplishing this prayer here and now, holding and spreading the Muni's precious and complete teachings through explanation and practice. You wore the armor of patience that is never discouraged. Incomparable venerable Guru, to you I make requests. While striving single-pointedly for the sake of the victorious one's teachings, the sole gateway through which all benefit and happiness emerge, and for all mother living beings, you suddenly departed to peace. What a great loss. Nevertheless, through the undeceiving truth of the blessings of the ocean of the three jewels and the great waves of Bodhicitta of the children of the victorious ones, may the smile of a reincarnation swiftly beam in glory for fortunate disciples. Final Lamrim Pair, page 39. From my two collections as vast as space, I have amassed from working with effort at this practice for a great length of time. May I become a chief leading Buddha for all those whose minds' wisdom eye is blinded by ignorance. Even if I do not reach this state, held in your loving compassion for all lives, Manjushri, and may I find the best and complete graded paths of the teachings. Please all the Buddhas by my practice. Skillful means drawn by the strong force of compassion. May I clear the darkness of the minds of all beings with the points of the path as I have discerned them. May I uphold the Buddha's teachings for a very long time. With my heart going out with great compassion in whatever direction the most precious teachings have not yet spread or once spread have declined, may I reveal this treasure of happiness and aid. May the minds of those who wish for liberation be granted bounteous peace, and the Buddha's deeds be nourished for a long time. By even this graded path to enlightenment completed, due to the wondrous virtuous conduct of the Buddhas and their sons, may all humans and non-human beings who eliminate adversity and create conducive conditions for practicing the excellent paths never be parted in any of their lives from the purest path praised by the Buddhas. Whenever someone makes effort to act in accordance with the tenfold Mahayana virtuous practices, may always be assisted by the mighty ones, and may oceans of prosperity spread everywhere.
We can do this one more tune. There's some time. I can start. Again.
Page 39. Ye je ye ram and sa je varsho se je so tre lai jo La sa do re ye do chi si yang gen se je ye da se ram gan no ka de bo cho do so yeah, thank you very much. Thank you, Anastasia.
Thank you very much.